Okay, so now we're going to have a look at the client screen, which is the essential part of what you want to do with your client. So we're in the main screen now, search screen, and we found the client that we require. We're just going to double click the line, and this will open up the client screen. Okay, so now we're presented with the client screen, which is a lovely sort of smallish window. Encompasses everything that you ever wanted to do with your client. It's been designed this way, so you haven't got to divert and go off into other areas of your database to try and do things. So this just means you can do it all from here, which is absolutely perfect. So I'm going to go through it slowly for you, and hopefully you can understand what it can actually do. So we're going to start straight off by just obviously presenting your client's details here, your name and address, and for instance there's a nice view map feature here, so if you want to know where they are, for instance, if you haven't got a sat nav or you're just curious to know where they actually live, just click the button. It will save so much time for you, and this will open up the Google Maps. I'll just make this a little bit smaller for you so you can see what I'm actually doing here. There we go. So obviously you'd have a bigger window to look at this on full screen, but straight away it's brought up the Google Maps screen, which everyone's familiar with. And if you want to look at Street View, then obviously just click the letter and then click the map, and then that will bring up the Street View for you. It can take some time, but I'll just close that because we're not really interested at the moment to look at the Street View. So we'll just close that and minimize it. Okay, so that's how you would look at your client's map. We've got some notes about the client. Now, having notes is essential, I would say. Try and make notes that you've picked up when you're dealing with the client and you're cleaning. It can be about the house, parking. It can be about the client themselves. If they've got any kids, pets and things. It's nice to have some personal statements in there. So when you ring them or they ring you and you're looking at your client screen, you can just say, "Oh, how's Fluffy the dog?" or whatever. And they do actually appreciate the fact that you remember these things. Of course, you haven't remembered them. You're just reading off your screen, but it does go a long way to have that sort of personal interaction with your client. Now, if you come down here, by default, any invoices that you've created for your client are actually shown here in each line one at a time, and the earliest, the most recent one will be at the top of the list. So there's only 2 for this client. They're all in sort of tab format, so the tab invoices is open as we speak. So we know straight away what we've done for this client. We've got invoice numbers, a brief sort of outline of what we've done for them, whether they've paid, and of course the value of each of their invoices and their total spend. Now the total spend is great because this allows you to work out, whether they're actually a good client or an average or a bad client, and that data is actually also in the reports as well and the mailings, so you can use that figure later on in the program. So we're just going to run along these other tabs here. Now you can also, of course, email your invoices as well as the quotes as well, actually. So if you come down here, you can add a new one, for instance, add a new invoice, and that will open up a new invoice screen. It will eventually show down here. You can open a current one, but you can just double click the line, which is quicker, or you can print one. Just as long as it's highlighted in blue, then you can print it and it will just bring up a print screen for you ready to print off, or you can email it. Now this will automatically email the one you've highlighted in blue. It will bring up your default email client and enter that invoice or quotation, same way, into your subject line. So you'll have a PDF invoice, which is very secure, very professional looking, and all you've got to do is click send, because it will automatically insert the email address, of course, for the client. So if the client wants the invoice or the quote, then just highlight, click email. It will bring up your default email client and just click send. That's how easy this system is to deal with invoices in this part of the client screen. Now quotes is exactly the same. The only thing is there's one quote here. I won't open it because it's the same as the invoice basically. Now I won't open the invoice at the moment to show you how to do an invoice. There will be another tutorial on actually how to create an invoice. I'll just show you the screen for now, just out of curiosity, but I will show you in more depth actually how to create an invoice. So as you can see, it's another neat little window where you just create everything for your client. So we'll just close that down now. Quotes are exactly the same format. The quote master. Now this is very interesting. This is one of our latest features. Again, there'll be another tutorial on this because it's a massive feature. I can't run through it here because we're just looking at the client screen. But it's just a case of This is where you do in-home quotations, and you open up each quote here. It will store everything about the quotation that you've done, measurements and packages and everything. So just look out for that video as well. Any marketing you've sent the client in terms of mail merging and what have you, these will be shown in here. At least you've got a record if you know what you've actually sent them. And in files, another one of our latest features, it's basically if you've got any images that you want to store about your client or about the job that you dealt with your client with, then you can store them in here. So I wouldn't say take pictures of your clients, that's a bit freaky, but certainly if you've got jobs that you want to take photos of, whether they're very good differences between before and after, for instance, or if you've got a really unusual job that you're not quite sure about and you just want some proof and some backup that you've done a great job there, and if there's any sort of comeback from the client, you can then say, well, look, I've got photos here to show you if you want that we've done a great job. And it's reassuring more than anything else to know that you've got this this one-click feature here, close to hand, photographic evidence, and also for any other images you want to store for the client, you can store all in their client screen. And you can have more than one file. You can have them in date order, so you can create jobs in relation to those dates in your files, so you can have quick access to any photographs in there as well. Now I've got one here called carpets. And I've just placed one in here, and it's called Image Attacker, but it could have been actually a real job. And you can see here there's a nice difference in the lounge, and I can show that to the client if they get a bit fussy. Not that they would, but it's nice to have that evidence, and also it's good for you to remember before you go and do the job what you're actually going to go and do again, because quite often you go back to clients and do the same job again, but you can't remember what it was and what you moved, and this just gives you a very quick, within seconds, an idea straight away what the job's going to be like before you even go there. So this is one good feature. At the top of the screen here, we've got reference numbers. You can create your own. Obviously they're contact numbers, mobile numbers. Now this is the new text button, so this will be actually how you can text your button in as a one-off, so you can send like an appointment reminder or something. The actual marketing with texting is another feature in itself, so again, please look out for that video, but this is just a very quick texting feature from the client screen. Just open it up. So from here you can type in any message you like and click send, and it's as simple as that. All you need to do to use the system, you don't have to do it every time, is just very quickly set up an account with TextLocal, which is textlocal.com. Takes about a minute to do. You don't need lots of information to put in there, and each text is about 3.5 to 4.5 pence, I believe. So it just saves messing around with mobiles and what have you, and just click the send button. If you want to create an email and send a client an email, then you can do from here. As soon as you click this button, it will open up your default email client. Now I haven't actually got my email open at the moment, so now it's actually opening up Windows Live Mail, and it will open a new window to actually send to the client. And here we have the window, so you can see it's already inserted the email address. All you need to do is enter a subject, tell them what you want to tell them, and just click send. That's how quick it is to do that. Down here, this is the client type, so you need to, when you create the client, create them as something, so it will be one of these. A source, now this is where they've actually heard about you originally. So let's say you've created the client for the first time, you need to enter how they heard about you, and you must ask your clients how they heard about you, otherwise your marketing will not be very effective. So it's essential you ask them, and even your new clients, you don't necessarily have to ask them, but you have to know how they contacted you again through your marketing methods that you're going to be sending them. So your original source will be different from every invoice source, because potentially every invoice source could be different, because you may send different things. Okay, so just enter in here how they heard about you originally. And if you've been to them and done a quote, then you should know what the access is going to be like, whether it's going to be easily accessible with a truck mount, or you may need a portable if it's in a flat or something, or if it's in a really high-rise flat you may want to do low moisture, or any other sort of access issues. You can type in manually here if you wanted to, and it will save it for this client. One last thing about the client screen down in this section anyway is the opt-out that screen for the client. If they don't want any marketing from you, and they tell you that, then you just click this little tick box here, and whenever you do any marketing, mass marketing, they will not receive anything from you ever again, whether it's an email, whether it's a letter or flyer or any paper material or any texting. They will not receive anything in those three sectors: paper-based, emailing or texting. They won't receive anything unless you untick this again. So you're safe in the knowledge that they're not going to be receiving anything, even though they've told you they don't want it. So it's nice to know they won't be receiving anything. Last feature or features are these buttons at the top here. Excuse me. We don't need to create a new client from here because we're in the client screen, but we can. And if you want to delete the client, of course you can. The email button, essentially it's the same one as down here, but some people like to use it up here. Invoices, well, this will view, excuse me, I've got a cough today. This will essentially bring up all their invoices so you can view them. Again, with the quotes, the quote master is essentially to create a new quote in the quote master system. So if you were in the home giving them a quotation, then that's how you would get there. Or down here, do the same things really. This will just give you a list of their quotes, reference to quote master. Letter, if you want to send them a letter, then of course you can. You just browse for your letter, because the database obviously uses fields. So as long as you've got fields in the name and address, then you can browse for any letter that you've set up, and just click print or send. You know, they'll instantly get something over the email. You can do it by there, or just print it and send it in the post as per normal. Now, to send a statement or to create a statement, you can for the client as well. Great for commercial clients, as they always want them. Now, I will do, individual videos for each of these, so don't worry too much. So I'm glossing over them at the moment, but please look out for those on the tutorials section. I can't do individual videos right now, but they'll all be individualized, so please go back and have a look. And of course the last one is an appointment diary system, where you can set up an appointment for them into the diary feature. So that's a very brief outline of the client screen. You seriously cannot do any more with the client than what we've got here. I don't know any other package that has as much as we have, and as many features. So please look at this again. You can please rewind and start again if you feel you need to. If I haven't quite gone over something very clear, then just check it out again. Otherwise, just get in touch and we'll be happy to help.